I need a physical, hands-on trainer, and that is what Freddie Roach has brought to the dance for James Toney. See the knockout percentage. Toney has had a knockout in every round in his career. McGroom has never scored a knockout past the 4th round. Now, Teddy, in the setup that we showed and the interview with McGroom and the clips of McGroom that our crew shot yesterday, we saw a band-aid right around the left eyebrow of McGroom. He says that it was just a scrape. He's getting ready for this fight, but it is curious that if it was just a minor little nick, that he'd be using a band-aid. We don't see any mark on his head.
Not yet. But back in June of '99, not too long ago, in his 12-round win over Esteban Pizarro, he was cut over the right eye.
So we'll see if the right eye or the left eye causes a problem.
Maybe he's trying to throw the guy off a little bit.
In that fight, McGroom swept the last 4 rounds to win a unanimous decision. When you talk about experience, obviously James Toney has all of the experience. McGroom has a total of 126 rounds as a pro. Toney has 124 championship rounds. McGroom says, though, it means nothing once we're in the ring.
McGroom, some loose tape on that right glove, and he came out with it that way. Not a real great job by the people inspecting that tape on the glove, because obviously nothing's been done to loosen that tape up yet. And that's going to come into play at some point. It's going to get longer. Either in the corner they're going to fix it, or the referee's going to have to stop it at some point so it doesn't go in Toney's eye. Loose tape on the right glove of McGroom.
Now we talk about the unbelievable speed and skill of Roy Jones. We've heralded Pernell Whitaker's unbelievable ring prowess over the years and so on and so forth. Toney probably doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's a very stationary guy, but he's so subtle with his movement, Teddy, and so effective.
Yeah, he is. He'll destroy you if you lay in front of him, because he makes you miss and then he counters right back.
He just busted up Adolfo Washington in that fight back in July.
That's why the way to be effective is to get your shots off and not wait for a receipt. Get out. Use your legs a little bit. He has trouble. Toney has a weakness in that armor because he's as technically sound as anybody and as solid mentally as most fighters or any fighter with all that experience. But if he has a little kink, it's dealing with movement sometimes. Guys that don't lay in front and wait for the counters, get in, get out, use their legs. They can have a little success. That's the way to go.
Toney's been never knocked out. McGroom knocked out once as a heavyweight by Kirk Johnson in 1996.
Giving up 22 pounds in that fight.
Final seconds, round 1. James Toney huddled up with trainer Freddie Roach. They make a very good tandem. We mentioned that Toney has 124 rounds of championship boxing. Here are some of the names. Michael Nunn, who he knocked out down on the scorecards back in 1991 to win the middleweight championship in Iowa. Reggie Johnson, Iran Barkley, Roy Jones, Montel Gray. He's been in against everybody.
9 of 9 current or past world champions. That's a lot.
He's seen it all. Round number 2 underway between Toney and McGroom.
And the reason he's not an old guy in all those fights is because he's defensively real quick, real slick, real smart. He doesn't take a lot of punishment.
Glancing blows. Round number 1. Not a lot happening. The edge as far as punches thrown, punches landed. Toney landed 7 jabs in the round. McGroom landed just 3. 66 of Toney's 75 punches in that first round were jabs.
Because, as you mentioned, McGroom's only loss was to an undefeated heavyweight. And also his draw. One of his draws was to a heavyweight, who at the time was undefeated, who holds a win over Shannon Briggs.
McGroom says he was sort of forced by management into fighting as a heavyweight. Never really wanted to fight as a heavyweight. He says he walks around at 200, and he's best in the 195 range.
Of course, in the loss to Darrell Wilson, he was also giving up 22 pounds. Two mirror guys in front of you at the top. Both guys good at moving their heads, defensively real sharp. Could be a little bit of a chess game. Not easy to catch guys like this. This is the kind of fight you have to go to the body. You would expect Toney to start doing that. Also, little feints can work in this kind of fight here, Bob. Guy's looking to slip, feint him a little bit, make him slip too soon, and then nail him. Also, the guy who uses his jab is going to have an edge in this fight, because there's not a lot that's going to be given to either guy because they're so good defensively.
Toney switches southpaw for a second.
So whoever uses that jab is going to have a chance to pile up points, and during those dead spots, they have to control the pace a little bit, the tempo a little bit.
Short punches by McGroom. Landed with a combination.
Jab's always important in a fight. But when you're in there with, if you have two good counterpunches, the jab becomes a little bit more important. Because sometimes that's all you're going to get. So you better.
Counter shot by Toney, scored. McGroom doubles up with the left hand. Misses with the right. Toney lunges in with the left hand.
McGroom's game plan, I would think, is going to be to out-hustle, to steal the fight. Because if Toney has a weakness besides dealing with guys that use their legs, sometimes he's into defense so much he can be out-hustled a little bit.
Final seconds of round 2 between McGroom and Toney.
Right.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and get...
Round number 3 underway from Alumni Hall at DePaul University in Chicago, Illinois. Bob Papa, Teddy Atlas. Friday Night Fights presented by Miller High Life. James Toney, Terry McGroom underway. Round number 3. Teddy, very patient corner. There's a nice combination with Toney and Freddie Roach. Very calm. If you stand a little too much in front of him, remember everything off the jab. I see what you're trying to do out there and set up McGroom, but remember, use that jab.
Well, Freddie Roach is a guy who was a fighter, was a terrific, exciting fighter. Was involved in every fight he was involved in was a fan-pleasing fight. And of course, he's been with world champions. He's worked with Virgil Hill, the former light heavyweight champion. Marlon Starling, the former welterweight champion. But Toney's used to being around good teachers and good trainers. Bill Miller from Detroit started Toney out when Toney first won his first 2 world titles, starting as a middleweight. Bill Miller from Detroit, good teacher. Him and Freddie Roach, a couple of the real trainers in this business, and there's a lot of unreal ones, believe me.
Well, on the topic of Freddie Roach, let's get some thoughts from James Toney on what he feels Roach has brought to his camp and working with the talented trainer.
Freddie, what he does, he try to, try to tell me to do things. He helps me sharpen the things that I already have, my skills I already have, and make sure I do certain things right. If I miss, if I slip and make a mistake on what area, and then he's correct me on it. He's a great all-around trainer. He's a great hands-on trainer.
And the styles mesh perfectly well. Roach not a screamer. Certain times, certain guys need different type guys in their corner at different points of their career.
Yes. Younger guys, sometimes they need a guy to wait a little bit more. The experienced guy, sometimes a little less.
And as you all know, working with different guys, sometimes you need to be hard to try to get the best out of a guy. I guess with a guy like Toney, Roach knows that Toney knows how to take care of his own business, and it's more of a technical thing. McGroom lands a couple of good shots.
McGroom throws punches and bunches, no power. The bigger puncher, funny thing about it, the bigger puncher in this fight is Toney, the guy who's moved up from middleweight. He's the bigger puncher than McGroom, who's been a cruiserweight, a natural cruiserweight his whole career. His power is born, not made.
And blood from the nose of McGroom.
But Toney has to be careful that he doesn't get over anxious. Look for that one shot at a time. Because McGroom's the kind of guy who can out-hustle you. Take advantage of that. Score like he's doing there. Take what you're giving him.
Good counter right hand by Toney on the inside, but McGroom continues to press.
A little stress.
Some blood from the Terry McGroom as we start round number 4. And there's some swelling under the eyes. Teddy, one thing about when guys fight James Toney, even when it looks like they're having some success, as McGroom has done, landed some punches, threw some more punches than Toney. Toney's punches are so short but powerful that he has a way of just wearing and busting guys up. he's doing that. We saw that against Adolfo Washington. It's an inside fight, nothing spectacular, but at the end of the fight, Washington was a mess. And you get the sense, even though McGroom has done a lot of good things in this fight, he's paying the price just looking at his face.
That's a good point. And it's right in front of you. And he is. The reason for it, he's the bigger puncher, Toney. He's the stronger guy. Even though he's the built-up middleweight, he is the stronger guy in this fight. No doubt about it. I thought that from the beginning. But there's another reason. He's accurate. He makes you miss and he catches you clean. The other guy catches you off the arms, catches you sliding off the head. You know, Toney catches you very clean. Makes it count. And again, I think McGroom should use those legs a little bit. I know he's not a ballerina. I know he's not an athlete, but he can use those legs a little. He should use them a little so he doesn't get busted up laying in front of the counter punching Toney. Because laying in front of Toney, always something coming back when you miss. He uses your offense against you. He wants you to throw, so he can come right back and nail you with something.
Fortunately,
he can make you miss.
Fortunately for McGroom, he does not have to go to work. He works the midnight to 8 a.m. shift at the Austin home for mentally challenged adults. And he works a full-time job as well as a boxer.
See, right now, McGroom is allowing Toney to fight his fight. What I mean by that, McGroom's trying. He's throwing punches, but he's laying right in front of Toney. Just watch. Toney needs his feet set to punch. Right now, he turns southpaw. Feels he's in control. He turns back again. See, he made sure he was out of range when he turned back, because you can get caught turning southpaw back and forth. When you're turning, the guy can jump on you. You're not set. So Toney makes sure he's out of range.
And a lot of blood now on the face of McGroom, coming from the nose.
See, McGroom, like I said, he's fighting Toney's fight. Now he's moving a little bit. But Toney also knows that now he's moving a little bit out of desperation, out of feeling those counters. But by laying in front of Toney, you feed right into him. You got to get your punches off, step out, step around him a little bit. You don't have to run if you don't want to just lay in front.
Glancing right hand. Toney landing very clean punches on the inside in the face of McGroom, starting to show it, even though McGroom is doing some pretty good things.
It's time for each round.
Ring card girls get to relax when the action is underway. Fans here in Chicago welcoming Friday Night Fights here on ESPN2. Glad to be back in the city. James Toney, Terry McGroom underway. Round number 5 of the scheduled 10-round cruiserweight bout. Toney picked up the pace in that last round, Teddy.
Yes, he did. There's a weakness. Sometimes, as we said before, sometimes he can be out-hustled a little bit. But like you said, he picked it up that round. His stomach looks a little bit bigger, Toney. I know he's about the same weight, but just a little bit larger in the tummy area than he did the last time he was in his last fight. Of course, in his 10-round win against Ramon Garbet.
And as we illustrated earlier, Toney wants to win all the cruiserweight titles. And then he wants that rematch with Roy Jones. And it might be a big money fight for Jones somewhere down the line. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, Jones holds all the cards. But the problem I see with that fight is Toney needs a stationary opponent. And Jones is so and can work so well on the outside. He would force Toney into having to move a lot, and that's totally away from Toney's game.
Yes. Hey, there's a reason why the old-timers and the great old matchmaker, like Teddy Brenner, who unfortunately passed away a couple weeks ago, probably the greatest matchmaker of all time. It's the reason why he used to say, styles make fights. And Roy Jones Jr.'s style is a difficult style for the style of James Toney.
Take a look at the punch numbers by round. And you see each round, Toney's are getting higher and higher, more and more accurate.
And again, McGroom, plenty of heart, but he's cooperating, I believe, anyway, with Toney, laying in front of Toney. Toney needs his feet to be set. See how he set up those punches? Because his feet are set. You don't allow a guy like Toney to get his feet set. You move around him a little bit.
Chant of Terry for Chicago's Terry McGroom. You see all those punches that McGroom throwing, all missing. Toney dips his head, turns his shoulder.
He's always busy. And he'd be a hard guy to beat in an amateur fight, Terry McGroom, that is, because he's always throwing, always moving something. But in amateurs, they score differently, as long as you're throwing. They don't have to be hard.
He was an Olympic alternate. 92 Olympic team. Lost to Montel Griffin. 4-time National Golden Gloves champ.
100 amateur fights. But he's in the pros now.
James Toney doing what he does best. McGroom trying to throw a little movement into the mix. Change things up a bit. Midway point of this bout. There's the bell to end round number 5. Well, if you weren't with us last week in El Paso, Texas, on the campus of UTEP, a couple of big knockouts. IBF flyweight title fight. Randy Pacheco against Pedro Pena. And Pacheco able to take him out. Fortunately, Pena okay. But Pacheco defends his championship. And one of the swing bouts, Ron Guerrero against Ryan Brisky. And what a shot coming up right here, Teddy.
Yeah, you got to cover with that left hand when you're throwing your right hand. And he didn't. And he got caught with that right hand. And it was a devastating shot.
You hear me? You're going out there, 2 lackadaisical out there. You got to pick it up. Come on. I want those punches coming with conviction. You hear me? I want you to put hurt on this guy. All right? Every shot, okay? Go in behind the hard jab. Go in behind the jab and finish this guy. All right? He's finished, JT, okay? JT, get up. You got this guy. Take him out.
All right, Freddie Rhodes saying you got this guy, but you got to be a little busier. Just stand there in front of him. 6 underway. McGroom's face very puffy, red on all parts of his face. Toney looks like he just came out of the locker room.
Freddie Roach, the trainer, corner man of Toney, knows what Toney's Achilles heel is, that sometimes he's not busy enough. He gets into defense. Sometimes he admires that defense, out hustle him a little bit. And Roach doing his job as a corner man, making sure that doesn't happen.
All right, give me a break. Give me a break.
You got to know your man. You got to know your fighter. Know what his tendencies are. Otherwise, you cannot help him.
Take a look at Teddy Atlas's scorecard. You have it 49-48 for Toney. I have it 48-47 Toney. Teddy has those even rounds in there. You love those even rounds. Even Atlas.
Even Stevens. I thought the last round that McGroom was busy. Was really always busy, always there, steady. Toney was not as busy, but early in the round landed the more telling punches. That's why they even now.
Jab lands by McGroom.
You see him turning southpaw here, Toney. When he was turning southpaw there, I think there's an opportunity for McGroom to jump on him every once in a while. His feet aren't set. Just jump on him while he's turning southpaw. He could get some free punches in. You get an opportunity where the guy's not really set to pick you up. Take advantage of those opportunities, especially when you're in a tough fight like this. You have to take advantage of any edge you can get.
Double left hand by Toney. McGroom tries to counter, and Toney misses with a left counter. McGroom went to the body that time. We haven't seen a lot of body work from either man.
Toney's allowing McGroom a little bit to hang in there by not using his jab. Toney's looking for shots, hooks, right hands, a little bit too much. So that time Toney pulled straight back. McGroom, the guy who's always looking to punch, fought him.
Toney faking like he was hurt, then he lands the right hand, and McGroom answers.
And there's that cut over the eye where he had the Band-Aid off.
Yep, left eye of McGroom is now cut. He's opening up here at the end of round 6. Finally. The crowd likes it. Let's check in with Brian and Max.
Thanks, Bob. You know, I was very excited about James Toney fighting on our air based on his 3 fights of last year. Unimpressive so far. He's got to be much more aggressive. He lost twice to Montel Griffin, never got beat up, but he can get outpointed. He get outpointed here tonight.
Because Griffin moves and Roy Jones moves, and Toney prefers it when a guy comes at him so he can chop him up. I still think no matter what happens in this Toney actually in this last round started to assume control towards the end of the round. But no matter what happens here, Vasily Toney's perfect because Girov is going to come right at Toney, and Toney will be able to do his thing.
Programming note here on Friday Night Fights. Tomorrow night here on ESPN2, Bruins and Panthers. You can see it 7:30 Eastern. Bork versus Beret here on ESPN2. Let's go back to our main event, Toney and McGroom and Bob Papa.
All right, thank you very much, Brian Kenny, Max Kellerman, and Freddie Roach wanting Toney to be a bit busier.
Let's put it together out there, son.
Put the punches together. You know, that left eye of McGroom, he had that Band-Aid on his left eye, and you never see a boxer with a Band-Aid on the day before a fight. That cut on the left eyebrow is opened up.
Yes, it has. And the responsibility will be Jim Strickland. He's the cut man in McGroom's corner.
Round number 7 underway. No knockdowns in the fight. See the punch numbers from the last round. 11 power connects in round 6. Best so far for Toney.
This is a spot now. The experienced Toney might think about turning southpaw because then he puts himself in a position to open up that cut a little more. You know that, Bob? This is where Toney, who can turn southpaw, he's shown that already. Now he could have a reason to turn southpaw. Get that right jab right on that left eye.
I think, no, it's hard to tell, but I think the cut might be far enough to the left of the eyebrow where the blood is not directly going into the eye.
Yeah, you're right. It's in the corner. It's in the corner, and you're right. It's running down. Not above the eye where it would run into the eye.
Now let's go to the corner of James Toney. Freddie Roach joins us. Does a great job with James. And Freddie, it seems that James hasn't been as busy throughout this fight as he normally is over the consistent course of 10 rounds.
Yeah, I agree. He's been a little bit sluggish out there. He needs to put his combination a little bit better.
Right now they're looking at the cut of McGroom. That's where he had the Band-Aid yesterday. What would you like to see James do more of?
Well, I want James to pick it up because James Toney, to get the Roy Jones fight or the big fights, he needs to look better than he is right now. He needs to knock guys like this out. So I'm going to push James to put the pressure on this guy and finish him.
All right, thank you very much, Freddie. Best of luck. Well, you heard it right from his own corner. If you want to get a fight against Roy Jones or with the big guys, as opposed to continually fighting the Washingtons, Garbage, Grooms, he's got to look more impressive. Brian and Max said the same thing.
Well, that's why Freddie's a good trainer. 2 reasons. He knows what he's doing, and he's honest enough to tell the guy the truth.
And now maybe McGroom will open up a little bit, and that might help Toney's cause because McGroom has that cut on the left eye.
And because of McGroom also, besides the cut, if he opens up, that means Toney, the great counterpuncher, will have opportunity.
Good combination by McGroom.
Toney's looking for one shot, a little bit too much.
Good left hand by Toney. Missed with the right over the top.
Toney's looking to nail McGroom. Even though McGroom's having the spots hustling, Toney in his mind thinks that he's going to nail him a shot because McGroom's in front of him. Only problem, you don't nail him, Bob. You could have a decision on your hands.
Well, the last 2 rounds, things have really picked up. McGroom scores with a combination as blood streams down that left eyebrow. Toney with a counter right. Best action of the fight.
You wonder if Toney's as good a shape as he wants to be, too.
McGroom going toe-to-toe with Toney.
Well, things started to cook that round, and the reason for it, Toney stands in front of you, lets you get off every once in a while. And McGroom took advantage of that. He used his legs just a little bit, punch, move, had some success.
Round number 8 underway between McGroom and Toney, scheduled for 10 from Chicago. Fans here at DePaul Alumni Hall, solidly behind Chicago's own Terry McGroom. Teddy, 2 things are going to happen with McGroom getting more and opening up because of that cut. He is either going to continue to have success or Toney's going to get that knockout he's looking for. Or that Freddie Roach wants.
I mentioned that the pouch for Toney's a little bit larger, at least in my mind or my eyes, than the last time. And condition, obviously, now could start to play a little bit.
Scorecard through 7. 68-67 Toney. Have it 67-66 Toney. There are the 2 even rounds in there.
Don't forget whose hometown we're in. Mr. McGroom's.
Well, we already saw a questionable decision earlier tonight. Rocky Martinez handed a draw against Hiklet Lau. Lau fought a very good fight.
Still, the cleaner punches are landed by Toney. It's just that Toney's looking for the one shot a little bit too much. We mentioned it right from the top, though. One of the kinks in his arm is dealing with movement like that, dealing with legs like that. And sometimes he can be out-hustled a little bit. Gets into defense. He gets to put them together sometimes. And if you don't stand in front of him to put them together, well, he can have problems.
If McGroom's movement is bothering Toney, what would Roy Jones' movement do to Toney?
You're talking about a Ferrari and a Volkswagen. Jones not only depends on movement when he has to, but he has that tremendous talent and ability and speed to go with it. It's one thing having the style, it's another thing having the ability. Jones has it. Roy Jones, that is.
Not a lot of clean shots landed by either guy here in round number 8. 2 more rounds to go. Intriguing bout between James Toney and Terry McGroom.
6 pair.
Friday Night Fights on ESPN2 has been presented by Miller High Life. Get a look at gorgeous downtown Chicago. Bitterly cold here in the Midwest, but heated action at Alumni Hall. And Teddy, you mentioned movement by McGroom, a key.
Oh yeah, and you don't have to be Ali. All you have to do is step a little bit, get off, and then get a little distance. Create a little distance. Don't stay back there. Don't stay in that same range where Toney can counter. And you can be effective. And McGroom was very effective in that spot.
Round number 9 underway between Terry McGroom and James Toney. Probably a lot closer fight than you would have thought at the point. Take a look at some punch numbers through 8 rounds. You see that Toney has landed 27 more. He's thrown 27 more. So fairly even. Last round, McGroom outlanded Toney 19-15. Lunging left by McGroom. Fans roaring. Those last couple of punches, though, did not land by McGroom. Toney has all the experience, but none of that matters at this point.
Now he's leaving the door open here to a guy who's less talented than him as far as pure ability or pure strength. But the kind of fight he's fighting, he's allowing the door to stay open for McGroom to pull off a decision here. And maybe Toney's condition is part of that, or lack of it. If it's a little less, like I thought it might be.
Well, his people maintain that he is in top shape, even better than his last couple of fights.
Well, with Toney, some of it could be that, and some of it can just be temperament, personality, his style. His style sometimes going in, the book on him, and sometimes he can be out-hustled.
Plus, who, as you mentioned, is not Carl Lewis, has moved more in this fight than Ramon Garbey and Adolfo Washington moved combined in Toney's previous 2 fights.
Which is smart on McGroom's part. Got to give him credit. You're going to be successful with different kinds of fighters, different styles. You have to have some ability to adjust, to be smart, to be versatile.
Ugly cut on the left eye of McGroom, but done a decent job of stemming the blood flow. Nice combination by Toney. It's easy to be swayed because when McGroom throws some of his punches, even when they miss, the crowd goes nuts.
That's exactly right. But right now, Toney is not controlling the tempo. It's like he's looking to nail something, and sometimes he's a beat late. He's allowing the other guy to always be pecking, popping.
Final seconds of round number 9. We'll keep it right here and take you to the 2 corners for the final round instructions. 9 rounds in the books. A lot tighter fight than many expected. To the corner of Terry McGroom. All right, very quiet corner in the McGroom camp.
Fine, right up his body, all right? Body right to the chin, all right? Get in front of him. Give him another wrench.
Hanging in there, bitch. You gotta finish him off. You gotta put some combination. Oh, let us out.
JT, come on. Let's go. Let's put together. JT, we need your spin, okay? Come on, son. Put your combination. This guy's finished. Put it on him.
All right. 10th and final round underway. James Toney, Terry McGroom. Huge fight for both guys. For McGroom, obviously, would jumpstart a nondescript career. And as Freddie Roach has explained, any at this point in Toney's career is devastating as he tries to get back into championship picture. Teddy, how do you have it going into this final round?
I have it almost as tight as you can have it. I have Toney by 1 point, but I could see a draw going into this round. That's how tight I have it.
I agree. Toney by a point, 86-85.
There's some loose tape now on the left glove of McGroom. You never know if that might all of a sudden stop some action in this round.
33-year-old Terry McGroom trying to pull off a very big upset against James Toney.
And he's doing it the only way he can do it, by being a little bit smart, moving just a little bit, and moving those hands. Taking what Toney's giving him. Toney is not putting punches together. Toney's doing a little bit more BSing than usual. He's moving around a little bit. Moving around, stepping out every once in a while when you would think he'd want to be right there in front of the lighter punching McGroom. And when he moves around a little bit like that, it makes you wonder. Is he trying to kill a little time?
Well, he hasn't been as accurate as he normally is.
You know, you would think he'd want to sit in there with the softer puncher.
So now those punches are by McGroom, but Toney's not punching.
No, Toney's losing his round right now.
Left side of McGroom's face is swollen. And the normally accurate Toney missing with his combinations.
You know, that last round was a tough round to gauge. I gave it to 1 point to Toney, but it could have went the other way, too. And if he doesn't win this round, he could lose his fight.
Legs got tied up. There's 35 seconds to go in the fight. And James Toney's dreams of a cruiserweight title and more could be on the line here. Chicago fans loving it. The normally accurate Toney, very inaccurate.
He's put himself in a tough spot here where McGroom could steal this fight now, and he may have stolen.
There's the bell. What an effort by Terry McGroom. Heavy underdog against James Toney. Lackluster effort. We'll get the decision after this timeout. Welcome back to Chicago. Final punch numbers. Toney and McGroom. You see they threw the same amount. Toney outlanded him by 21. In round 10, McGroom outlands Toney 22-8. He throws 33 more punches. That could be 10 of your scorecard. You had it a draw 96-96. I had it 95-95. The official scorecard. Here's our ring announcer, Kenneth Fletcher.
Ladies and gentlemen, your decision by points as follows. Judge Ted Gimza scored the bout 95-95. He had it a draw. Judge Jerry Jakubko scored the bout 96-94. Judge Mike Liena also scored the bout 96-94 for the winner by majority decision, the former two-time world champion, James Lights Out Toney.
Oh, very close fight any way you look at it. But I tell you, I'm sure McGroom people are not too happy, but very close fight.
Well, McGroom made a good account of himself. Toney survives barely. Let's send it back to Brian and Max.